Colleen, your friendly neighborhood abortion influencer, and I'm going to veer away from abortion rights for just an evening. I know, shocking. So there's this viral thing going on here on TikTok about redheads being the black people of white people. And when I first saw something about it, at first I was like, oh my God, what has another white person gone and done? And then I was like, oh, thank God it was a black woman. She started this viral moment. Oh, fuck. Well, first, I wanted to say your videos have been so funny and endearing and compassionate, and I'm just so happy you've embraced us, the black community. Thank you so much for my upgrade. And while yes, many of us were teased for our freckles, our hair, our skin, did you know that the othering of redheads didn't just stop at bullying on the playground? There's actually a deeper American story here, rooted in a shared history of discrimination and struggle. So, when Irish immigrants first came to the US, like my people who were the Pollocks, and then they changed it to Polk. You may have heard of Polk County, Florida, by the way. Name change to assimilate. More on that later. Anyway, many of these Irish immigrants were poor, Catholic, and yes, redheaded. But they weren't considered white in the US. They were slandered in newspapers. They were called apes, depicted as violent and subhuman, barred from jobs, and called a threat to real American life. Sound familiar? Now, African American slaves, of course, faced a much more brutal and terrible legacy, and it was permanent. Slavery, racial terror, segregation, systemic exclusion. The violence was codified, enforced, and weaponized across every generation. So different histories, but both groups were targeted and othered. Both were scapegoated for the problems of a system that exploited their labor and blamed them for their own suffering. But here's where it gets even more sinister. Instead of allowing that shared struggle to become, solidarity, systems of power offered Irish immigrants a deal. Accept whiteness, join the club, and you'll be safe. But only if you distance yourself from black people. Only if you help maintain the racial hierarchy. And over time, many did. They changed their last name, as I said, like my ancestors did, and they assimilated. Because when you're starving, when your kids are dying, and someone hands you a ladder to safety, even if it's standing on someone else, you might take it. But the truth is, that ladder was rigged all along, because as long as we're fighting each other, we're not fighting the system that keeps us all down. That's why in the 1930s, during the rise of CIO, labor leaders started uniting Black, Irish, and immigrant workers across factories and fields. They realized our strength is in numbers, not in their lies about who's better than whom based on some arbitrary skin color. This movement said, your boss is not your brother. Your coworker is not your enemy. And your enemy is not the person with a different accent or skin tone. It's the person getting rich off of our collective suffering. And that message, this is what still threatens power today, guys. So yeah, we can laugh and cry with the black community here on TikTok about being picked on for our red hair and being black and othered, but let's also remember our intertwined struggles. Division was the tool, and solidarity was the weapon. Sound familiar?